Hi, I'm Toby. I'm a mentor at the Aero Makerspace, and today we're going to be talking about engraving on the OMTech here. So it's a little daunting, especially compared to our Glowforge engraving, that is. But some advantages the OMTech has over the Glowforge is that it's far more customizable in terms of your settings while you're engraving. You can cut through different materials and different thicknesses of wood. It's also a lot faster. So something that may take over an hour to engrave on the Glowforge might get done in 30 minutes on the OMTech. So whenever you're looking for images that you want to laser engrave on the OMTech, what works best are images that are high contrast, or line drawings work the best. So something like this is ideal, but if you're making a coaster or an ornament for a family member, something like that, it'll probably be a picture of your family or something. It's not quite as simple to engrave as this. So we'll take this plane, for example, which this is nice because there's a clear contrast between the background and the object itself. So if we wanted to laser cut this, first thing you do is save it. The OMTech takes images just as they are. It doesn't need to be a DXF or anything like that. So I'll save it here and import it. And there it is. So what we can do here is adjust it to make sure the settings are all right, and make sure we're getting everything we want to cut. So I'll right click it and adjust image. Here, like I said, the contrast is already pretty good. If there's a lot of different colors, you might want to adjust it so that the background and what you actually want to be engraved are distinct, just so it turns out the best. So I'm going to leave this as is. If you wanted, you can play with all kinds of things like contrast and brightness here to make it even better when it engraves. You could also trace the image if you didn't want to get any of the background, you just wanted to get the plane here, for example. I could trace this image and just get an outline and mess with the cutoff, but I'm going to keep this how this is. So in terms of settings for engraving, we have a manual here for the laser cutter that has some different speeds for different wattages of laser and different power levels and that kind of thing. But luckily enough, users and mentors in the past have kept good record of what has worked and what hasn't. So here on the wall, we have some examples at different power levels and different speeds for engraving and for cutting. So I'm just going to use that as a guide, and you can too. And if the wood you're cutting is different, or a different material, something like acrylic, definitely ask a mentor. And if they don't know, then finding the right powers and speeds is a real trial and error kind of thing. So it's often a good idea to take a few passes, cutting a piece of wood that maybe isn't as important, or engraving your image much smaller just to see what works. But like I said, we're going to use these settings here on the wall. So I've already set the plane here to it's this image layer, this top one. The speed is 10 inches per second. The laser won't actually travel 10 inches per second. That's just kind of forcing it to go as fast as it can while maintaining the quality. And then I also have the power being between 0 and 30%, which is pretty good for this thin piece of wood that I'm going to cut. And then the layer I have beneath that is the line that's going to cut out my image of the plane here. And you always want the actual cut to be after the engraving, because if you were to cut out this square before you engraved it, it might shift around in the laser cutter, and then your engraving is going to turn out all weird. So I have all these settings preloaded in here. And now what you're going to do, as is detailed in other videos, you're going to make sure that you focus the laser with your piece of wood, and make sure all the ventilation, everything is on, and then you can go ahead and cut. Before you do that, you definitely want to make sure you frame the image here, which if I were to click this, the head of the laser will outline this image of the plane. And then you also want to make sure the job origin is in the right place. So if you look at the image here, there's this green square that's in the bottom right of the plane. You can pick where that green square is by clicking these different circles here. And what that does is that sets like the true origin of your cut. So that's the nice thing about, another nice thing about the OMTech is you can have the image centered anywhere you want. You don't have to line up the piece of wood to like a specific corner, specific spot. You can just adjust the laser using the focus buttons and the arrows on the keypad, place the laser head wherever you need it to be, and then cut from there.